So everybody who creates stuff, what happens is you'll be like, I created them. I can't let them see me like this or see me like that. But then majority of the time, a female will say, I had to do everything I could to put food on the table. So then whatever that means, that's what you're teaching your children how to be. Now, when it comes to the boys, and you're a single mother, your son already want to protect you. That's a natural thing for a man, a young man coming from a woman, especially he ain't got no father. He want to protect his mother. But he don't know how. One thing he know is I'll fight. You know what I'm saying? He don't know nothing else. So because women be so emotional about shit, y'all don't take the time to analyze the particular type of energy that your son has for you. You don't see that as a thing. You don't be like, yeah, I can merge that into the right thing. You start looking at the emotional concept that you deal with, and that's what you teach your son from your experiences. But your son needs to know, or your sons need to know, the vulnerability that their mother had to endure. And you don't let them know that by a form of disrespect. You let them know that by the things you had to endure from the concept of where you were standing. Like, I was fully in love. I thought this was going to happen, but I allowed these things to happen because I wasn't able to see it. But now that I know what this is what I would want y'all to learn from that. So then at that point, the mother can literally tell the sons, listen, I failed this way in my belief. Be a different man that would treat a woman that way. Now you're teaching them two sides. You're teaching them what their father might have put you through on top of how you let it happen to you. So now in that man's mind, knowing that he's a man, he develop a concept on why not to do what his father might have did to his mother and get an understanding of that. You know what I'm saying? That gets real deep. But you don't tear them down in the process because you feeling some type of emotional way to it. No, you uplift them. And you give him the power to understand the indifference. So now when you do send him out there, he's not carrying this type of animosity, lack thereof, from what his father didn't have from a mother that raised him correctly. That be the indifference. That man that you probably created them seeds with probably didn't have his mother tell him the right thing. So he treated women in a certain way. Those boys, they are part of you. So that means they need to understand how not to hurt you, because you are the image that women are going to see them portray as their likeness. They're going to say, I want to know your connection to your mother. How was this with you and your mother? Most women want to know that because that is the female in your life. And your spur of the moment responses is based off what your mother teach you. So how is a man going to know that if your mother is not being vulnerable with you? If she never was real with you and never said, you know what, I let this happen because I wasn't able to see it. But then my intentions was right. So now you're teaching them about how the placement of energy can be misconstrued. And you're showing them. So now instead of seeing, if they see a woman that's weak, instead of them taking advantage of that energy, what they're going to do is they're going to be like, nah, that's what it looks like when it don't know. So now it's my job to play the role of making sure that individual knows. That be the difference. So who going to teach that? If you're not going to be vulnerable with your kid, and then later in life, you don't got that structure of this maturity coming out of this kid because they've went through the ups and downs in life, and then they understand that last piece of knowledge that you taught them is manifesting into a real thing. So now they can go around the world and they can look at it and see, all right, this is why this is happening. This is why they said that, because they believe I'm not really on that. So now they got something to stand up to. This is why y'all destroying everything. Y'all not paying attention, and lack of knowledge, that shit killing you. Not having a structure, understanding, that shit destroying y'all, because y'all don't even know the shit y'all be talking about. You don't know the words. You just trapped in the emotions of it. And that shit get real powerful, yo. It get real, real powerful, because that weakness comes back to the woman, and the first thing she say is, I can't find nobody. You never found nobody good, and you never learned from your own choices. You just kept creating from that value of what you didn't pay attention to. and what you wouldn't try to learn from. And since you didn't learn from it, you didn't teach your kids what to do with it. So now your children are a statistic to what's going to happen. And the rest of the world who don't even got close to the level of knowledge that you possibly may have, they going to judge them based off their experiences too. And they going to come on like, I don't know why she acted like this. I don't know why it's like this. Why it ain't going this way? Why this? Why that? And it's going to be because they ain't got no eyesight. They can't see vulnerability on a female. They can't see when you don't know what you're talking about. They can't see when you saying things and your emotions is really behind it because you want them to respond a certain way, but you're too shy for that response, or you're too scared for that response, so you want them to see that you're weak at that moment. And actually, they not going to see none of that shit because the woman is not teaching them that. You're not teaching your kid none of that. You're not being vulnerable with your kid. So the next thing is, I don't know how they got there. What you mean you don't know how they got there? Did you teach them? And then the first thing they want to say is, I can't teach him how to be a man. That's his father's job. His father is only going to express how he feels about his wife to his children. And that's because she became the love of his life. You see how that goes back full circle? It goes back full circle. So his wife might be a better woman than his mother because she taught him how to love her. She had enough power inside of her to understand he would love her if she did it correctly. She would love him if he can understand her. So then she was intelligent enough to comprehend that I can at least get him to understand me. If I can get him to understand me, then he can grow towards this because he wants to. He just don't know how to deal with his emotions correctly. So since he can't deal with his emotions correctly, let's see if I put this in a certain way for him to feel it. And now that couple has grown in a certain way. They be together 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. And y'all like, yo, how those people been together since the 30s or since the 40s or whatever? That's because whatever he came from, she was just that much more love for him to deal with opposed to where he came from. So he was able to learn from that love. Y'all come in on the TV aspect like, yo, it's supposed to be, that shit ain't gonna never work. Y'all destroying the whole entirety of everything, whether you see it or not. And it's not no one person issue. It's not no, oh, that's because they messing with these type of women now and da-da-da-da. Well, that blame is only going to go back to one place. You want the responsibility of being goddess, but you don't want to be the progenitor of creating life. You can't have it both ways, yo. You can't have it. You can't say you was the first creation and knowing that you were the aspect of Pisces, two circles coming together to make a womb. That's an aspect of Pisces. That was put together by a direction. So when divine decided to create a womb, yes, and endowed it with all the knowledge in the world, that knowledge was supposed to give instillment to the creation, to give it a pathway. Yeah, that was the job. So yeah, if y'all want to be mad at anybody, be mad at the essence of femininity. And be mad at the essence of feminine energy that didn't speak life when it was supposed to. Because that, what it didn't speak life into, is just not going to be able to share that with anybody. And females, no matter how they come, they're only going to see it from a certain understanding. Oh, you strong, you independent, you this, you that. You know what I'm saying? So they only going to see it from that. And that be the reality. So you can't be mad at the world talking about, oh, men ain't acting right. No, you probably just stepped to a level to where that man was used to dealing with his own people. So he was like, I can deal with this. This ain't that serious. And we can fight back and forth until, you know what I'm saying, we can go back and forth with the bullshit until one checks out, or we just get tired of doing it and we just be comfortable enough to deal with each other. That's what most relationships be. People just end up dealing with that shit forever. But if you want things to change, it starts with how you speak life into your children. And a lot of people not going to want to hear what I'm saying right now. They're not going to want to take it as responsibility because a man was able to hurt you in a certain type of way. I get it. And the first thing females say is, I'm not about to do this for no man. I'm not about to raise. It's not about raising a man. But if you can belittle that down to a certain comprehension to where you can disrespect your connection with a man, that shows where you at mentally with it. If you can say, I'm not about to raise no man, that man is always going to be second to the woman, even if he older. He came from a mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you not understand the powerful implication of genuine emotions? Genuine emotions will change anything. You not notice dogs, like if you genuinely upset, an animal will be like, wow, you're sad. Men are the same way too. They can tell, they can feel you. And the more you connected to that person, he'll cry when you cry, no matter where you at. He'll be like, wow, I feel emotional. I used to be connected to somebody like that. And that's real shit. I used to be connected to a female like that, to where no matter, she could be going to work and she probably had a back and forth, some arguing with somebody at work, and I call like, yo, you all right? I just feel like something ain't right now. She'll be like, how you know? Or like I can be somewhere and she's somewhere else crying, and I'll start crying like I don't know why I'm emotional right now. Like, yo, this shit just came over me. I'm bawling like a baby. I'm like, damn, why the hell I'm crying so much right now? It's a fact. That shit is real, yo. So, not for nothing, some of the roles that Divine have lined up for some females, they don't take it on because they're afraid of what that really looks like. You too busy wanting to get things from the past fixed when Divine put that real love right in front of you for you to deal with. And then when you do deal with it the right way, you get the outcome of what you was lacking. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't comprehend that, you don't see Divine laying that right in front of you and giving you the opportunity to be the voice for a circumstance in the most humblest way, then you actually miss the gift. See, divine power is compiled. Divine power is compiled. You got a lot of men that just want to dominate some shit. No matter what your color is, you want to dominate some shit. So you find a family so you can be the one that's over everybody. You know what I'm saying? That's not divine either. Divine is up breaking that down later and tempts you with other, like soften your family to make you feel like you have control over them, and then tempt you with something that you feel like you can get away with. And then you'll go and get involved in that temptation, and by default, you loving something else over there. You show the universe that you don't care about the gift that was given, and then it comes to an end. So then, no matter how dominant you thought you was, it shows your weakness and choice. That's how the universe messed shit up, and that's why most men get put on a pedestal just to be brought down, because it'd be like, damn, how you fell? And then the first thing they gotta do is take accountability. I cheated on my family. Think about that shit. It'd be real deep like that. Like they end up having to face that reality, that one piece of reality. And it always comes around full circle. You got to face that. You know what I'm saying? Same with women. That's why they be going, that's why they find themselves in combated situations. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh no, we gonna argue and fight in front of everybody in the world. For what? You're faced with that conversation at that current moment because of the fact you probably never took accountability. You probably never listened to who was trying to teach you in the best way they could. So therefore your mind can move the pieces around to give you a better way of looking at it. Probably never had that. But in the same breath, you want to be revered in a way to where you're great without responsibility. Why would Divine do that? Why would Divine say, oh, everything great about you except the things that you do wrong? Like, I'm just saying, like, think about this shit for a minute. You're great on every single level, except the things you do wrong. So you could go do wrong, but we ain't worrying about that. The fuck out of here. Who think like that? That sounds like something Satan wants. That sounds like something that Satan wants. Satan like, yeah, don't judge me for what I said and what I did and how I feel. Let me come back in the house and run this how I want to run it. I got to work for them? How about I take them from you? That's some gangster shit right there. Say like, I take it. Take what? You better sit your non-knowing saposexual. I had to go back to that because that girl was like, I'm a sapiosexual. I take it. We could fight for it. I might like that. I'm like, yo, you ain't no damn. You don't even know what sapiosexual means. You're not intelligent enough to know it's sapiosexual. And that's like a double entendre, right? Sapiosexual, you're not intelligent to understand what that means. That's, you know what I'm saying? Don't let me hold you, though. That's that shit I be talking about. But then, you know, these doorways, the doorways being between people standing on taking the responsibility for their actions. Like, you got to be man enough and woman enough to say when it's right. And the right ain't got nothing to do with you. It has to do with you fighting for the creation of the Almighty, like, nah, let that live. Your answer never has to be self-serving. Your answer should always be based off how divine will let it be. That's why it's powerful. You don't say, oh, nah. No, you say nah because divine will want that to live. So now you're speaking from, as a man, you're speaking from a place that your stability is based under the Almighty. So they can be mad at you all day, but you're delivering the word to people by using the example of how the Almighty, because Almighty gave life to everything. So that's where you stand at as a man. People not going to like a lot of things you say. You could be still and quiet all you want. You can move that way. You can move knowing now my answers is based off how the Almighty would do it. You know what I'm saying? And once you learn that, then you set another precedent in motion. You set another precedent in motion. They can come to you expecting you to say something that divine, the feeling of what divine would promote, opposed to how you would feel about it personal. And you know, you get people out there, yeah, that's a sexy one right there, man. If I get that, this is what I do. Right? That person sending you down, that person sending you in the wrong direction. Oh man, you get that, you the man. That all that ego boosting shit. That person talking to you, they never had that in their life. That's what you're supposed to understand first and foremost. Like, yo, they never experienced that. That's why they telling me to do whatever. Oh, they mad because what they got didn't work out right. You know why they mad? Because they didn't treat it right while they had it. That's why they're mad. You ask them, what did he do? Did he hit you? Did he steal from you? How did he, he ain't do none of that, so why you mad? Oh, you mad because you effed it up. I got you. I've been trying to see how I look with a gray beard, y'all. Because my shit, you know, trying to gray out. It's graying out. You see, just the hanging part right here is dark brown. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I've been giving it a minute. I might go ahead and give me some dye. I might go ahead and hit it up real quick. Like, hit it up with the color again. Like, my skin don't get old, but my beard is turning silver. I got silver hair on my chest right here. I got silver hair in my balls. I got silver hair in my underarms, yo. Got silver hair on my head, like be on Obatala, this flying over on the clouds soon and shit. Be white everywhere, like just pure white everywhere. I'm just saying, responsibility is the true responsibility. And what you gonna do? What you gonna do? You just gonna keep letting things just walk over your back just so you can have other people say things that don't make no sense, and then you'll be a part of that, and you get an opportunity to speak up, but then you don't say nothing. What does that say about you? Can the divine trust you to say something for the divine pretense or not? So then how you expect to want divine knowledge or energy or divine presence or divine anything? You don't represent for the Almighty. You represent for how you feel, and if you look like you playing the right role so you could try to receive some shit. Ain't no way. Only way is the Almighty, yo. That's the way. I don't have a way. No individual person has a way. If I knew my way, then I wouldn't be trying to find my timeline, right? You wouldn't be trying to be on the right path. The Almighty gives you a path, knows you before you're in the womb. So if that's the case, you already have a road to walk on. And that's based off the way of the Almighty. So then naturally these energies that sit before the other energies is what you're supposed to deal with. You're supposed to be in these emotional standpoints. You're supposed to be vulnerable. You're supposed to feel. And when you walk through that fire, you literally, after walking through that fire, you can literally face it and genuinely say how that made you feel. That's what allows it to be fixed. Otherwise, you can't get past that. Because you're going to keep storing it inside yourself every opportunity. You're just going to be like, I'm never going to say nothing. I'm not going to let them see that's what that made me feel like, so I'm going to hide it. Nah, Devon, like, why you hid that? That's why I gave you the sensor to feel it. So you can walk through it and become a better individual. We supposed to be doing greater things. The people back then didn't have all the distractions we got today. So how you going to do anything greater when everything that you're going by is represented from the world? So you fell into the temptation of the world. To the world, Craig. You fell into the temptation of the world, Craig. Y'all don't think like that. Nobody thinks like that. You just figured you'll charm it up in your mind and you call that the Most High. Nah, the Most High gave you all the right directions to follow. And then if you get lost, Divine said, know me by knowing my creation. So you can always come back and see things that are in order naturally. So then you can line yourself up with that natural order. But when you separate from those values constantly to self-serve yourself, you are literally going against the Almighty no matter what it look like. That's what you're doing in every single retrospect. You will never win. You don't have a way. There's no right and wrong. That's just what people deal with. There's right and wrong, the way of people, and then there's the Almighty way. So your lessons is to get away from you trying to make something feel right or wrong based off how you feel and move over to the side to where Divine makes a decision based off naturality. See, man is going to always stay stuck in that dynamic. It has to be the way I feel it, how I want it. No, that's a lie. That don't exist. That's not even real. The only way is the way of the Almighty. And if what perceives you don't follow that way, you gotta find that way yourself. And be willing to submit yourself to the Almighty. That's the facts. You're going to always have something trying to become a middleman. You're going to always have a denomination, somebody speaking towards the fact of what they believe Divine to be. Divine made you without no help. So why would, when you get here, you automatically need help to find what created you? That's them perceiving the fact that you're going to be lost in the world. So then automatically, without even nothing on your coattail, you already taking this in. Well, I must need somebody to guide me to the Most High. No, that's called being stupid. Tell Divine directly, listen, I'm imperfect. You said I was an imperfect bleed. I see this by the fact that I bleed. My skin bleeds and can tear. Father, only you can guide me through this situation that I lack full understanding in. You don't have to know anything. You got to submit. We use terms like Father, Almighty, Divine as higher standpoints of reality. I say all the time, I say those things because it's a respect for them. I don't know the name of the Most High, and I don't want no man to tell me what that is, because if you can speak the name of the Almighty, creation should fall off your lips at that instant. No blockage, no nothing. Creation should just fall out of you, because that energy in itself does that. You can't contend with the Almighty. That's why the Almighty had a spokesman. That's why the Almighty had something to speak for it. Y'all called it Metatron and all that. It had something to speak for it. Because divine energy, nothing, not even the creations, can face the Almighty. They were sent out. So you can't turn around and face the Almighty and have a point of view. That energy created your existence. So anytime you go against your existence, you recreate yourself. So keep trying to go against the divine. It's going to strip everything from you and send you off into the future. Send you off into the distance. Send you off into something else. It's going to fling you 1,000,000 miles across wherever. That's why they even had the egotistical value to say, yo, I strip you of all your universal energy and banish you down there. No, it turned around and faced the Most High. It became combative. And with that one act in itself, it was stripped of everything that it was created as, because it went against what it was. How you going to argue what created you a certain way? And then what happens is you get stripped of everything that you are. And then they try to say, oh, divine took it. Divine ain't got to take nothing. You was created in a way that you went against. So that in itself spoke to the facts. You went against your creation in creation. So divine took everything from it. Period. You got to purposely take nothing. It went against its standpoint of creation. It said, I'm a bird, now I'm a fish. That don't work like that. If you a bird, you a bird. That's just what it is. And until you stop doing that, you ain't going to never get this understanding, yo. You're going to keep seeing it how you want to see it. You're going to always look outside yourself. And you're going to say, what they doing is this. I don't like that. You don't get to do that. You didn't have hand in the creation. Even when divine said, yo, I choose you to give birth to this. That means divine seen that it was enough and you didn't do that much to where it was okay to bring light through you. So that means some point in your life, you didn't go so far left to where your light was just that dark. It's like, nah, you got enough in there to where I can have the good and the bad process to bring this light through so it can at least get a guideline and move forward. These are simple ways of looking at the creation, because you can see it every other place. You can see plants and animals crossbreed. You can see it everywhere. Just had this, I'll be watching this this one brother, and he be talking about how natural some food that we hold as deemable food became a fruit out of crossbreeding with something else in a land where nobody was, and then all of a sudden the native people started cultivating it, and it became a thing when something else got it and transported it somewhere else. It's like they have a mind of their own. They just get ready to get on the train, and then they go make a new home. That's divine planning. That's divine timing. That's the way of the Most High had that all laid out. They probably had never jump on a train or a boat again. But from that one time, they traveled from that island to where they at now. That's where they were supposed to be for the present coming people who would be in that area. See, we don't get a chance to make up this understanding. We don't even comprehend it fully. You don't even have enough patience to watch the divine work in your life. You're too busy in your own emotions. Instead of going through the emotions, you're letting the emotions affect you. And while they affect you, you react instead of responding. You can always ask the divine, should I go through this? Should I feel this? What should I do? Divine gonna say, I am almighty. There is nothing that can contend with this. So at that point, you should be like, that's right. You created me, so I'm gonna go through it. You don't go through it with a screw face on or negative or angry. You just go through it. You just go through it. Don't let it make you feel nothing. Feel what? Ain't nothing to feel. I feel the Almighty in everything. The Almighty in everything. No matter what it is you're dealing with, feel the Almighty. Reach for it. Fight for it. You have to fight for it because your flesh going to tell you different every single time. You're going to want to make yourself comfortable. You got to understand what that means. Find comfort in the creator that created you so you can stay on your path. It's disrespectful to go in life and pull other things that has nothing to do with your timeline. That's so disrespectful. If I'm like, yo, that's not what I had intended for you. But this is what I'm doing. Okay. My grandfather used to say, live or let it be. He used to be like, let it be. Be like, I want to do this. Let it be. Don't touch this. Let it be. Some things, they just need to be left be. That can be a person you might be really interested in. Let it be, yo. Sometimes just let it be. Everybody going to be checking for something free. Everybody checks for something free. You know what I'm saying? When we was young, we used to go dust dumpster diving and all that. When you don't really got nothing, everybody checks for the free stuff. Does that make it important? That means you've dropped your value down that low to where you'll be accepted by somebody that wants something for free. So that means they're not going to take care of it. They're going to use it and then lose it. So all the way back to the beginning conversation, make sure you instill the vulnerabilities in your children so they can carry your vulnerabilities with them and concept. Keep in mind, they got a life to live ahead of them. So that whole time, they can watch what would make them feel invulnerable and learn how to win instead of fall to it. It's your choice. Naga the Wise.